So first let's talk about the batteries. They just go in the back under this cover right here. It takes two AA batteries. I wanted to mention, if you're having trouble programming this, you're going to want to check the batteries first. Marginal batteries can definitely cause programming issues. And also when you're changing the batteries, you'll have up to 10 minutes to change them out before the remote will forget your codes. If you're new to my channel, consider subscribing to my channel. I come out with videos like this as often as I can. Also, if possible, do me a favor and click that like button below if you found this video helpful. I will also post a link in the description below to the code list, the manual, and a place you can look at the remote if you want to get one. Right now, I wanted to call attention to these App 1 and 2 buttons. These are your streaming hotkeys for accessing apps like Netflix, Prime Video, YouTube, etc. Stay tuned though, I have some good news and bad news about those. There are two ways to program this remote: the direct code entry and the auto code search. I'm going to talk about the direct code entry first, but just a side note, this remote is pre-programmed from the factory for a Samsung TV and a Roku streaming box. This does not include the Roku stick. That works on an RF remote, and I don't believe it can be controlled via HDMI-CEC, so there's that. The good news is, if you have an Amazon Fire Stick device, those can be controlled via CEC and no additional programming is needed. I'll link to my video below to show you what I mean by this. Okay, so direct code entry. First, you're going to need the list that the remote came with, or consult my link in the description below. And I also wanted to mention that any of these 6 device buttons can control any other device. They aren't tied to the label that's on the button. This is helpful if you have 2 TVs or 2 streaming devices or whatever the case may be. Press and hold setup till the power light stays on. Alright, press and release the device button that you want to program to. In my case, I'll do a TV first. The power light should blink and then come back. And enter the first 4-digit code for your brand from the list. In my case, we're going to do a Sony TV, so that's 1071. Alright, so once you've entered the code, the power light should go off. And you're going to want to check to see if the code is working your device. See if the device will come on, and then check out the other functions like volume and menu, input, etc. If some of these functions work but not others, you're going to need to try a different code to see if another one works better until you've exhausted all the codes. Now, if that happens, then you'll resort to the auto code search method coming up shortly. But if the code does seem to work, like this one does, let's input another device, like a sound device, so I can show you how to set up the volume control. Okay, so press and hold setup. Again, we're going to do the device. I'll put it under AUD, but I don't have to. And enter the code from the list, 1475. All right, that's it. Check to see if that code is working properly. If not, find the next code. So I'll do this very same procedure for up to 4 other devices, but we'll stop at 2 for the sake of time. Remember these app buttons? I haven't forgot about these. I will touch on those towards the end of the video. Moving on to auto code search, this method can take a while. What happens is the remote will send out 10 codes at a time until it hits on one that'll work for you, but you have to keep the remote pointed at your device the whole time. You'll want to do this method with your device turned on so that you can see if it'll turn off. Same like before, if the device turns off, then obviously the power function is working. Turn the device back on and check the function of that code, volume, input, etc., whatever. If that code is only partially working like I explained before, you'll need another code and you'll have to do the auto code search again. When the device turns off the second time, turn it back on manually and resume searching for a code, since you already know the first code in the list wasn't the one you were looking for. When it turns off the second time, check that code to see if it works any better, and you'll have to keep doing this until you find the best one. If none of the codes work, take the remote and throw it out the window as far as it'll go. Same as before, press and hold setup until the red light stays on. Press and release the device button you're working with. I'll go with TV for this example. Alright, with the remote pointed at the device, press and release the power button. Alright, this will send out 10 different codes. See the red light blinking? Alright, did your device turn off? If not, press the power button again. Alright, there's the second set of 10. It didn't turn off. Let's go again. You'll have to keep doing this for every 10 codes as long as the device stays on. Let's say it turned off on that third sequence. The device turned off, so stop pressing the power button and go and turn your device back on manually. Point the remote at the device and press and release the volume up button. So this will send out the first code of the previous sequence of 10 codes it just sent out. If it didn't turn off, keep pushing it up to 9 more times. There's 2, 3, leaving around 3 seconds between codes. 4. Once it turns off, press the device button again that you were working with to store the code. Okay, it turned off. TV. All right, that stored the code. If you feel like you've passed the code, you can use the volume down button to go backwards in the sequence. And now you're going to want to test the code as I explained earlier to see if it's working most of the functions or not. And you can repeat this procedure for other devices if the direct code entry doesn't work for them either. So let's set up the volume and then we're about done. Okay, the volume feature allows you to set up the volume buttons to control your audio device while leaving the TV volume alone and still being in TV mode. This is so you don't have to flip-flop back and forth between modes every time you want to do a volume adjustment. If you're like me, it's constantly. To enable this feature, press and hold setup like we did before. Alright. Press and release the device button for the device that you want to do the volume controlling. In this case, remember I put the Bose on the AUD button, so press that. Press and release mute. And then volume up. Alright, flashed twice and it went out. So to disable this and put the volume control back on the TV, it's nearly the same thing. Press and release setup till the red light comes on. Press and release the device button that we programmed earlier, so AUD. Mute. Volume down. We got 2 blinks, so we're back to normal. So, the news on the app 1 and 2 buttons, here's the good news. I have 2 smart TVs and I could get the app 1 button to work. It brought up Netflix on both TVs. But the bad news is neither TV did a thing with the app 2 button. So I actually called GE to ask them what was up, and they said that those buttons are not programmable and that they might work on some TVs and not others. Usually you can bring up your apps via the TV menu, but it would have been nice to have these hotkeys working properly. If they don't work, try the other codes. I had to try the first 2 or 3 codes on my one TV to get them working at all. So that's the news on that. It's not really that great, actually. So I wanted to finish the video with a factory reset in case you feel you've messed things up to the point that you just want to start over. So press and hold setup again. There we go. Press mute. And 0. We got 2 flashes and it's over. It's back to factory settings. So that's about it, folks. If you have any questions, please comment below, and thanks for watching.